Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we're discussing a limited edition of 12 pieces in grade 5 titanium. This is the Louis Moinet Geograph Titanium Aventurine, and it is everything the name implies. 46 millimeters in grade 5 titanium. The watch is 16.3 millimeters thick, 51.5 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, and it has a 24 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We'll throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and I can tell you it feels and wears fairly light, but I don't think you can wear it on a wrist any smaller than mine. I think you can get away with it with a 16 centimeter circumference wrist, and I'll let you be the judge here, although I would probably advise that 17 centimeters circumference is probably the minimum wrist size to wear it with a handsome sense of proportion. As it is, it sits securely, but I think proportionally a slightly bigger wrist would flatter it. Taking a look at the hardware and the software, you can see Louis Moinet does not cut corners. Large rectangular scale alligator leather, high gloss, and navy blue with a monotone stitch, a folded edge, quite a bit of bolstering to add thickness, and you can see on the underside, as you'll find on Louis Ulysse Chopard, de Bethune, F. Pigeon, and others these days, gator on the bottom rather than calfskin. Small round scale gator, you can see that it's here because like gator on the top, it lasts longer than calfskin. So the strap is more expensive, but it lasts longer, and I think a watch like this is worth it. We have pull-tab spring bars, so you can remove the strap from the case without tools. And then we have a little fleur-de-lis and a trigger-actuated double deployant clasp. You can see it opens up, double folding, and the triggers ensure that it cannot accidentally pop open. So that is your measure of security against accidentally dropping the watch while donning or removing it home. You can see this is grade 5 titanium because it's been extensively polished. You can't really do that with grade 2. So when you see polished tie, you know you're looking at the grade 5 stuff, sometimes known as 6-4. You can also see that we have a multiplicity of finishes. We have a vertical satination on the case flank with Louis Moinet engraved, and then we have high polish on the lug hoods as well as flanks. We have these little pivots for the pivot centers of the strap, and they're held in place by 3 screws, or they're designed to look as though they are chaton held in place by screws. And this would have been a feature of 19th and 18th century pocket watches where pivot jewels in the movement were held in place using chaton mountings looking exactly like these assemblies. Grade 5 tie is lighter than steel and more scratch resistant than steel, so it's really the best of both worlds. We have a little pyramide or stamped guilloche pattern on the outer face of the pump style pushers, fleur-de-lis again on a crown. It's a vaguely onion style with a narrow and sharp knurling, and then we have a layered bezel that features several tiers alternately of satin and polish for dramatic effect, and then the physical assembly bolts visible and externally black polished. We have a dial that has a sort of rosette pattern. It has a black dial base that expands out in a sort of undulating radial form from underneath the hands. And then you can see outboard we have a 24-hour scale that's traced by a lunette indicator. So this is a dual time watch. And we just make sure we're not in the date change danger zone. And in fact, we'll move out of the date change danger zone. And I'll demonstrate that there are 2 quick sets, one for the date and then one for the second time zone. So that's how that works. We also have, as you can see, a hacking or stop second mode, so you can set this watch precisely to a known accurate reference time. We'll also do a loom shot, because this watch is loomed, and fairly well loomed at that. You can even see that there is luminescent material on top of the applied hour indices. Now, taking a quick look at the sub-registers, the Aventurine name is justified by the use of Aventurine glass discs, basically a sort of translucent dark blue enamel with metal elements added. And so you have those 2 blue enamel sub-registers for chronograph minutes and chronograph hours, and an applique Louis Moinet logo along with applique hour indices. So a chronograph, a date, 2 time zones, and Aventurine glass. Turning it all over, you can see a movement that is based on a Concepto, which in turn is based on the Valjoux 7750. So this is Concepto's version of the 7750. It is an automatic winder with unidirectional winding action. It has a 48-hour power reserve. It features the double quicksets for the date and the second time zone. It features stop seconds. It beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour. It is a high-grade version of the 7750 architecture. It has the 12 and 24-hour split. It is protected down to 50 meters water resistance, and then all of this pivots on 25 joules. It is a handsome movement, not artisanally finished, though finished to a high standard. You can see it is a cam lateral clutch chronograph, and I have to say that the programming of the cam, the tuning of the cam is exceptionally crisp. It really feels fantastic. And then, you know, the chronograph bridge as well as the rotor, they've both been ruthenium blackened. It is a good looking movement. And if nothing else, you know it's concepto based because you can see they're sharply geometric and one might even say blade-like eccentric screw micro adjustment mechanism atop the balance. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.